This is an account of how in October 1862, along the Potomac, war would touch hearts and extinguish lives all around, leaving undying thoughts of a world beyond and ahead. Lincoln decided in his journal the night before going to Antietam and Harper's Ferry that the war was in some diviner hand. The numberless graves and uncounted suffering when he actually was beholding it stilled his usual protective facade of the lovable, mirthful storyteller and jokester. He seemed again haunted by death, inseparable from the death memory of one he called his great passion. The war he ushered in indeed troubled equally on all sides. Henrietta Bedinger Lee, married to General Robert E. Lee's first cousin, was, as Lincoln was approaching the area, stunned from surveying the countless wounded in every house and corn crib across the river in her very nearby Shepherdstown, Virginia. She, too, would write, before Lincoln had left the scene, "There are many, many graves. What a season for reflection and self-examination this mortality should bring." And from her own raw heart wound, wished, "How I wish they would catch and hang him," he being Lincoln. October 2nd, 1862, late in the afternoon, at General McClellan's shared Maryland headquarters at the Philip Grove Farm, not far from the Potomac and Shepherdstown. The evening was well planned, staged, provisioned, and plenty fun, thanks to Lincoln's gift of mirth. Wrote one later, adjoining the general's marquee there had been erected a beautiful pavilion, under which was stretched out a long table laden with luxuries of every description. Bottles of champagne in silver ice coolers, a profusion of delicious fruit, and immense bouquets of flowers. The cavalcade returned after dark, and the chiefs went to dinner in the general's mess tent. Two military bands relieved each other in furnishing music for the feast. When it came to jokes and stories, Lincoln always had another one. "Dear Dad, do come out here, for almighty mean men get office here. In Illinois, they named locomotives after fleet animals, like the antelope. I reckon the one in Harper's Ferry we could call Scare Virginians." "How did you do it?" they asked me. "It was too big to haul out, too knotty to split, and too wet and soggy to burn. Now, I'll tell you how I got rid of it. I plowed around it." Wrote Federal Officer David Hunter Strother. Peals of uproarious laughter at the president's hard jokes filled up the intervals. I had neither ridden nor feasted with the party, and I went to bed long before their jollity concluded. Lincoln slept in a tent and rose at sunrise, waking up his pal Ozias Hatch to get his own unchaperoned look at the Army, which he found, like its compact commander, was well fed, sedentary, and also vast, all to his disliking. Lincoln kept account of the number of encamped, relaxing men, giving him a grand total of 88,095. It appears Lincoln wanted some independence from McClellan, partly in order to get a bona fide count of his underutilized Federal Army. Hatch remembered, early next morning, I was awakened by Mr. Lincoln. It was very early. Daylight was just lighting the east. The soldiers were all asleep in their tents. Scarce a sound could be heard except the notes of early birds and the farmyard voices from distant farms. Lincoln said to me, "Come, Hatch, I want you to take a walk with me." His tone was serious and impressive. I arose without a word, and as soon as we were dressed, we left the tent together. He led me about the camp, and then we walked upon the surrounding hills overlooking the great city of white tents and sleeping soldiers. Very little was spoken between us beyond a few words as to the pleasantness of the morning or similar casual observations. Lincoln seemed to be peculiarly serious, and his quiet, abstract way affected me also. It did not seem a time to speak. We walked slowly and quietly, meeting here and there a guard, our thoughts leading us to reflect on that wonderful situation. A nation in peril, the whole world looking at America, 1,000,000 men in arms, the whole machinery of war engaged throughout the country, while I stood by that kind-hearted, simple-minded man who might be regarded as the Director General, looking at the beautiful sunrise and the magnificent scene before us. Nothing was to be said. Nothing needed to be said. Finally, we reached a commanding point where almost that entire camp could be seen. The men were just beginning their morning duties, and evidences of life and activity were becoming apparent. We involuntarily stopped. The president, waving his hand towards the scene before us and leaning towards me, said in an almost whispering voice, "Hatch, Hatch, what is all this?" "Why, Mr. Lincoln," said I, "this is the Army of the Potomac." He hesitated a moment and then, straightening up, said in a louder tone, "No, Hatch, no. This is General McClellan's bodyguard." Nothing more was said. We walked to our tent, and the subject was not alluded to again.